Okay, come on, guys. We are gonna stop fighting these jewel weeds right now. It's too much. I'll push these to the back. Hi, friends. Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time here, my name is Peaches, and this is Life at the Petal Place property. So I have this area here, which is an area where I have mostly herbs, but I do have a couple euonymus plants there and lilies on the far side end and echinacea. Now I'm gonna let the echinacea stay because I do drink echinacea for tea, right? So it fits in with the herbs, but the euonymus plants and the lily plants, I am taking them out. I'm relocating them so I can just go ahead and make this area a committed herb garden. Much more, it's pretty close to the front to access when I'm cooking, right, in the kitchen. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing currently. And then I'm going to put in a couple sage plants that I picked up on sale at the Home Depot recently. Here I am removing a phlox plant. Now I bought this phlox at my local horticultural um, flower sale. It did well the year after, bloomed lovely. And then for the second year in a row now I've noticed that it had powdery mildew and it wasn't doing too well. So I have cut off all the leaves and stalks and now I am taking it out because I will be relocating it to see if it does better in another location. And then I'll go ahead and put the euonymus plant right here because I want it to grow up at the fence there and create a kind of a semi-privacy from the rest of the garden. Now, I have a few garden books, and I'm going to be honest, I don't use them as much as I should. However, while I wander off from what I'm doing in the garden, I just want to read you a little excerpt from the Big Book of Garden Solutions, Problem Solving Tips and Techniques for Gardeners. The title is Design Strategies. And it goes Designing a garden involves both aesthetic and practical considerations. Ideally, how would you like the garden to look? How do you intend to use it? How much space do you have to use? What are the contours of your property? Does the site get a lot of sun, shade, or wind? Are there any unattractive views you'd like to screen out? The challenge is to fulfill your vision of the garden while also taking the practical realities into account. And I couldn't agree more. Okay, so you will notice that I have, well, there are three screens, but you can see two of them in this frame. And the reason is the road is right there by the front of the property, right? And so this road has gotten increasingly busy since we moved here 9 years ago. So what my intention is to create sort of a screen from the road. Therefore, I have made these panels more like trellis, right? And so where I am planting the euonymus right now, my intention is for it to grow up beside that one screen. And also, I am looking at putting not only annuals, but some perennial vines on the trellises so it can give me that screening. Moreover, I am planning to put a lovely hydrangea plant just over the fence in that corner by the maple tree. And so, yeah, that will help to create more screening because I need some, it's not privacy so much that I want to create because I'm in the countryside. So it's more like an intrigue, right? If I can see somewhere and it's wide open, it's not of any interest. But if it's behind something, more than likely it draws your attention more and you really want to find out what's behind that fence or behind that edge, and I have a business, right? And so maybe that will be intriguing for more people to come in because I haven't been getting many people stopping by to check out my little country store. So maybe that will help. What you think, guys? Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. So I am outside here in the rain. It's coming down right now, but I want to try my best to see if I can pick through some of the apple that's on the ground, because I am a little afraid that I might not be able to get enough apples for my jars and my freezer. And that is because this apple tree bears once every 2 years. And so whenever it bears, I try to get enough preserved so that it can last me until it bears again. So yeah, I'm gonna pick through what's on the ground, and then I'm going up the ladder to see if I can get some from the lower section here, because yeah, they're still tiny. They may not look like they are ripe, but they're dropping off the tree. And so I'm going to get them before they fall to the ground.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go up this ladder. Not so sure I'm gonna get much more standing on this ladder. Let's try one more time. It is raining right now, but it's more like a mist. It's not heavy rain. I remember one year we actually spreaded a sheet, and then my husband shook the tree and we got the apples on the sheet. I think that's what we're gonna have to do again because I can't reach anymore. This is a lovely size, isn't it? Yeah, it's a lovely size.
So guys, this is what we got from the apples that we picked yesterday. Now I did the canning last night, but I was so tired and I had so much that I was doing, and so I didn't record it. However, basically what I did was just wash the apples thoroughly, and then I used my cutting board and my knife and my apple corer. I'll show you that. Yeah, simply this. And I went through and I pared out what needed to be pared out. I cored the apples, And while I was doing that, I actually had a big pot filled with water, and I put some pink salt in it, and that was just to stop the apples from getting all brown. And so yeah, I did that, and after I was finished doing that, what I did was a little different from what I did 2 years ago. Can you believe that this jar of apples has been sitting in my pantry since 2022 summer? Yeah, and I think it looks pretty fresh. And what I did with this one is I pack the jars, and then I actually gave them a hot bath, right? I basically put them in the water, let the water boil, and then boil for around 10-15 minutes. And then the apples shrunk, and so they went down in the jar. It wasn't a big deal, but still I felt like I could have put more in the jars. And so this time I did it a little different, and I put the apples, and basically they're actually in their own juices, right? I didn't add any water to the pot. I put the apples in the pot, and then I added a little cinnamon and some lime juice. The juice from one, no, it was lemon. The juice from one big lemon. And I just softened them a bit, and then I put them in the jars and poured the liquid that was made during the process from the pot into the jars. Then I covered the jars and put the jars back into, not back into, because it was a different pot. This had to be a bigger pot. So I put the jars in the pot, then I filled the pot up with hot water because the jars were hot, and so I had to use hot water so that I did not break my jars. And so I started with hot water from the top in the pot, and then I cover the jars in the pot, let the water come to a boil, and then again I boil for about 10 minutes, right? And then I turn the burner off, and I took the jars out, and I got good seal, right? You know that your jar is sealed properly. I'm just learning, right? It's been a few years now since I started canning anything, because in the city we are not used to canning. And as I may have mentioned before, in Jamaica we usually do hot pepper, and we'll put the hot pepper in the vinegar with some carrots and stuff like that, but never did any type of extensive canning. So I am learning and growing as I go. And so yeah, when you have a good seal, the top of the jar is sunken, right? And so when you press on it, you don't have any play. Now usually I keep my rings on. If I need them, I'll take them off. But generally I've watched people who are big time canners, and one lady said that it's good to take the rings off because you don't want the rings to stay on and pretend that it's a good seal when it's not a good seal. But yeah, if it's sunken like this and it doesn't have any play, it is generally a good seal. And one of the things that you want to make sure you do, just like I did when I was doing the maple syrup, is wipe the edge of the jars, because any type of residue that sits on the edge of the jar can stop you from getting a good seal. Let me tell you something. When I started canning first, when I was doing my maple syrup, because that's the first thing I started canning, I didn't wipe the top of the jars. But I see where that makes sense, right? And so I do that now. So right now I have 7 quart jars of apple, and I am gonna put these in storage and hope to get some more apples. Now it has been raining since last night, and I think the rain may have eased up now, So I'm all dressed up in my hat because I'm going to take a walk outside to see what's going on in the garden. So I would love your company. I think I'm going to wear my rubber boots. Yeah. My shoes over there that I usually wear. Yesterday I was coming and going in the wet outside and it's all wet now. So yeah. Okay. Oh, look how my flowers. They're all bent down from the rain. I'm gonna have to get something to stake them. Yeah. So over this side is the same thing. So I'm gonna get a piece of stick and yeah, I gotta do something about that because we're gonna be away for the weekend also, right? And so I want to make sure that everything is good before I leave. So yeah, I'm gonna go get a piece of stick and some cord to stake my. Oh, I'm gonna get so wet though. It's gonna get me all wet, and it's still raining a little bit. You know what? I don't think I want to get wet right now, guys. Let's check back later. Okay, remember, guys? Remember I was telling you about the plant here that it seemed like the moles actually ate out the roots. I put the soil in there and look at the leaves now. It's perking back up, which means that it is growing secondary roots, and I think about 3 or 4 pumpkins were terminated because of what happened with the mole eating the roots. But check this out, we're getting new plant right there, so it looks to me like it is a survivor. Oh, okay. This one too looked like it fell victim to the moles, and I added some soil at the root. I think what I'm gonna have to do is next summer, check this out, guys. Next summer I am going to try to see if I can put some mesh in the garden bed and then put soil on top. I don't know if that's going to be in the budget. We'll see. We'll see, because I am spending a lot of cash to do a lot of different things. So we'll see what happens. But I have to do something to stop the moles and the voles and the chipmunks, because chipmunks dig like crazy too, guys. I don't know that chipmunks dig so much, but they do. So I am gonna have to do something to stop them from digging into my garden. Look at this. We're getting little beans there. Haven't reaped any beans this year. Is unusual. Usually I do get beans. Now here, this one I had to put soil on to try to get secondary roots because it does have a squash on it. And I was looking at it and I thinking, wow, it looks like the roots have been tampered with too. So yeah, but the leaves are looking pretty good today. So that's a good thing. Now, check out the pond, friends. Again, it has water in it. Now, we use where we bought that pond liner, right? And I was on Temu the other day. How do you pronounce it? Temu? 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 Tamu? Yeah, Temu. I pronounce it Temu. Drop in the comments, let me know what you do. Yeah, but I was on Temu recently and I saw one. We paid $200+ for the one at Home Depot with tax. And I saw one on Temu for $50, the same size. And so I bought it
So what I'm doing right now is waiting for it to arrive because I want to see if it is similar quality to the one that we bought at Home Depot. Now it has to be like less than a quarter of the quality, right? Because it's like a quarter of the price of the Home Depot one. So if it's anything close to the Home Depot one or half as good as the Home Depot one, when I say good, I mean the thickness. I am absolutely keeping it and returning the Home Depot one because gotta save some money wherever you can, right? Check this out. There are raspberries here. So I just had some goji berries. I can have some raspberries. That's a good thing. A very good thing. Wow. When I was putting down the cardboard, I'm sorry guys, I wish you could taste them. They are so good. I figured I was going to go ahead and leave this patch of berries here. Right here we have raspberries and we have thistleberry, right? And so, yeah, I left this area for the raspberries and the thistleberries to grow. And actually behind in there, I was going to put a planter and I decided against it because I'm going to allow the raspberries to spread in that areas because I want berries, berries, and more berries.
Check out my planter with my cherry tree. My planter. And another one over there. Yeah, here is our compost pile pumpkin squash, our squash patch. Look at this. There's a fruit there. I'm sure it was pollinated. It looks like it was pollinated. And look under here. Squash. Do you see the squash, guys? More squash. And over here. Where are you? The big one over there. Can you see it, guys? Maybe you can't see it. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Now, this one doesn't look too healthy. It looks like it's been terminated. Not going to touch it. I'm going to leave it for a bit. But it looks like it's not good. And there is more here. Wow. If I can get 2 dozen or more kabocha and butter cup squash, that would be excellent. That would be so, so good. My Jamaican and Mexican pumpkins are not looking very hopeful, but we'll keep an eye on them and see what happens. Yeah.
That was the pond place. Now we are going over into the Monarch garden. Monarch greenhouse garden. Now guys, I'm going to show you something. Do you remember I planted my lima beans? And I was saying that from my research, I've never planted them before. But from my research, you just need to give them a little support because they do not really vine. Tell me what this looks like to you guys. Doesn't it look like it's vining? Looks like it's vining to me. Now I'm going to take the head of this vine out so I can get some more offshoots. This one is, it's just doing its own thing here. But we have a few weeks left, so I am looking forward to some beans. Let's hope that we do get some. Let's hope that we do get some. I have my beet here. I planted them pretty thickly and I did not pull any out. So I am hoping that I am gonna get some beets from this. And I know you can eat beet tops, but I don't really eat beet tops because as far as I know, beet tops has lots of oxalate in them, and oxalate can be hard on your kidney. And because I have one kidney, I try to stay away from foods that have lots of oxalates, right? I minimize them as much as possible. That's a carrot that we planted recently, and there's some lettuce there coming up too. More carrots over here and lettuce. The new one coming up there. So the patty pan, it's the first time I'm growing them. They don't look too bad at all. They did well. I'll do it again. I will do you again, patty pan. I will do you again.
I don't want to tie them too tightly together. I think that looks decent. Yeah, I gotta do the other side and get out of the rain.
I think what I'm going to do with these guys is just put a piece of cord around them. And if I'd be able to stuff anything down. See all this area here? It's new garden area that I'm taking over. And the weeds are abundant. So I am going to have to get some weed cloth. I can't fight with them anymore. That pallet over there is to be added. Oh, there's an ant on my neck. It's to be added to the fence over here.
I made myself a pallet fence, and I am glad I did, because our neighbor's bush over there would just be one with the garden if I had not done that. And I am liking it. Done a lot around here, guys, a lot. There's so much to be done still, but Rome wasn't built in a day.
Now we're really going in. In. Going in. Last year, my hubby and my sons changed 11 windows on the house. This year has been so busy, we haven't gotten time to do the framing, but it will happen sometime. At least we can get to open the windows now, right? Because before we couldn't open them because the screens were all damaged by the cats that used to live here. And so now we can open the windows to get air in. So that's a good thing.